Hi, my name is Iris, and this is my media summary number 1. For this assignment, I chose to focus on the article Prophecy and Prophets in the Christian Theology from the Dictionary of the Old Testament Prophets. This article explains basically what prophecy really means in the Christian faith and how the prophets function in the Bible. And one of the main ideas that I took from this article is that prophecy is not mainly about predicting the future. Instead, it is about delivering a message from God. The prophets were chosen to speak on the behalf of God. They didn't wake up and just do it. They were chosen specifically by God, especially during the times when people were not following God, right? And another key point is that the prophets were part of a bigger story. So they were just a key part of a bigger story. You know, a story has different parts that makes up the bigger picture. So they were part of this bigger story. Their messages were not random. They connected to what God was doing in the moment, but they also pointed forward to something that was greater. In Christian theology, many of these messages are understood as being fulfilled in Jesus. This shows that the Bible is connected and that God's plan is always consistent. And so this article also goes on to explain that prophets often spoke during difficult times and situations, and these people were dealing with sin, adultery, injustice, and a lot of different other things. But the prophets, they addressed these issues head on, directly. They didn't sugarcoat it. They addressed it. They gave it to you in a real deal spiel, okay? And these messages were not always easy to hear because they pointed out what was wrong and called people to change. If you look at that and you look at times today, it's still the same. It really is. People act the same in a lot of situations. They don't want to hear the truth because it calls them to change. And at the same time, prophecy was not only about warning the people, it also included hope. And the prophets reminded people that God had not abandoned them and that restoration was possible, still possible for them. And there's a balance between correction and hope is an important part of understanding prophecy. So you got to know the balance between correction and hope. And one thing that stood out to me while reading this is that prophecy is more about communication than prediction. Communication. That really stood out to me. You have to know communication more. You have to, why communication is very critical, especially when dealing with God. Before this, I basically thought that prophecy was just basically about telling the future. But now, as I read this article and I've been studying and I've been in my classes, I'm really truly seeing that God, it's about God speaking to his people and calling them to respond. This helped me to understand how the Old Testament connects with the New Testament. And these prophets was pointing forward to something that was greater, and that becomes clear when we are looking at the life of Jesus. Another thing I noticed is how bold the prophets were. They spoke truth even when it was uncomfortable, when it was unpopular. This shows that it wasn't easy what their role was to do, but it was very important. It was critical. And overall, this article helped me to better understand the purpose of prophecy and why it still matters when and while studying scripture today. And I hope this help you to understand or give you a glimpse into what this article was about. Have a blessed day.